This is actually a news story that we wanted to get your take on. It's a rather lengthy news story, but it basically has to do with asshole neighbors, and I believe it's out of California. There's a dispute between Bond King Bill Gross and his next door neighbor over a $1 million outdoor sculpture, and it's devolved into different calls to the police, multiple legal actions, and the allegations that the billionaire investor blared the Gilligan's Island theme on at full volume on loop all hours of the night just to annoy his neighbors. It's so long. I don't want to go through the every nook and cranny of the story, but basically one of the neighbors had a $1 million hand glass blown statue put in his backyard. And then some things were getting thrown at it and causing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of damage. I think a pawn front fell on it, smashing something for another $50,000 worth of damage. So in order to protect his $1 million fragile outdoor glass sculpture, he actually erected a giant netting to go over top of it, and it's blocking the other guy's view. And so in response, he's being very dickish, and he's blasting this music. From a legal standpoint, who's right here? Because the way I see it, it's your yard and you can do whatever you want with it. In response, though, it's your house and you can blare your music as loud as you want, barring there's any kind of local regulation on decibel level. So how's this going? Add any details you want from the story, and who's going to win this case between the two billionaire asshole neighbors?
Yeah, well, I disagree with I think both of the things you said there, that you can just put the net up because it's your property, which, you know, in rural areas and things like that, sure you can, but in especially these Tony neighborhoods like these folks live in, you know, there's all sorts of local property regulations, and that's not even considering if you're in some sort of homeowners association or something like that. So that, I mean, I think the story did say something to the effect of, you know, he needed a permit for that netting and he didn't have it. So he's going to need to get the permit, basically. As far as blaring the music, you know, you can play your music whenever you want, but if it's causing a nuisance to somebody else, you know, because it's so loud, then you can't play it that loud. So I think that the guy's going to end up having to get a permit for the netting. He'll be told, the other guy will be told to stop the music. I think you did miss a couple. Well, one of the funniest things I've read in a while in this story, which is the guy who put the glass sculpture up, I guess, in his divorce with his wife a few years ago. So this just tells you what kind of guy this is. He trashed their old home and found some sort of spray or device that infused the home with the smell of puke and farts, which is just, wow. I mean, really sticking it to your ex-wife there, putting puke and fart bombs off in the house.
Yeah, I get. So, did you get a brand name on that? It'd be nice to ask for a friend. He did fess to it, and he said he got it at a drugstore, and he didn't mean to buy it, but he was going through a rough time in his life, and that just seemed like, you know. Oh, yeah, right. You buy puke and fart spray when things are down in the dumps. Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Now that brings up another part of something I wanted to ask you, because, you know, you could always, instead of putting up the netting, if you didn't want people to come onto the property and break your fragile outdoor $1 million glass blown statue, what are the booby trap laws? Are there federal laws against booby traps, or are they all like state laws against booby traps? Because I've heard that booby traps are actually illegal, and I've never understood that, considering it's your property. And if you wanted to put a tiger pit loosely covered by leaves and sticks, I feel like that's your legal right.
No. So there are no actual federal, or there's very few states that actually have booby trap laws. But everywhere booby traps are illegal. And the rationale behind that's kind of twofold. One is that somebody could get accidentally hurt by it. I mean, a postman is there delivering a package, And oh yeah, you'd love that, dropping off somebody's package to somebody's house and a booby trap going off. I'm sure
Workman's comp for life, baby. I'm retired.
Or somebody's coming in to check on you because they haven't seen you in several weeks. Which is probably going to happen if you're somebody who builds booby traps in your homes. You're probably a hermit or something. And you also want the response or the I guess force to be proportional. Somebody breaks in, they're trying to steal your property, but is that worth killing them over? No.
Wow. What about just loosely maiming them?
So I got a question. Asking for a friend here. So if the person who's blaring the music, okay, if they were to actually start blasting 36 Chambers and say Gilligan's Island was only 3 seasons, but Wu-Tang is forever. Is there any defense in that?
Well, Wu-Tang is forever trumps any legal argument out there. So,
federal otherwise. Yeah. All right, I found a loophole. I always coin myself
as long as you don't play the Wu-Tang album that has Gravel Pit on there, as long as you stick to 36, maybe Wu-Tang forever, then you're fine. But if you start playing that other Wu-Tang albums, then you should go to jail.
I do have one final question regarding this story. It says defendant Tawfiq appears to have a particular fascination not only with Mr. Gross, but also Mrs. Schwartz, his live-in lover, particularly when the pair are swimming and thus wearing minimal, if any, clothing, states the lawsuit, which accuses Tawfiq of invasion of privacy, among other causes of action. Now, if your neighbors are, scantily clad or not wearing any clad at all, is there a legal statute that says I'm not allowed to glare? Is ogling illegal anywhere in the 50 states?
Well, I think it would be different if you're sitting there with like a telescope or pair of binoculars, spying into their house versus, hey, I walked out on my back porch to have a smoke and I look over my neighbor's yard and there's his wife in a bikini. I mean, you can't help that. You can't. There's no law that says that you can't look that way, but if you start to surveil them in some sort of way, then that's a different story.
What if you start rubbing yourself down with coconut oil and making inappropriate noises?
How close are you to them?
Well, obviously close enough to break out the coconut oil.
Well,
noises.
I would say this: if you're on your own property and they're that close enough where they can see you and know what you're doing, then you're within your right to rub yourself with coconut oil and make noises.
All right. Just asking for a friend.
You can make noises yourself, or it has to be manifested by the squirt bottle.
Either or, any noises you want.
Because my friend my friend's neighbor has a pool. Just wondering. And that's it. That's all the questions I have as I ask for my friend.
All right, folks, this is going to be a regular thing. We have our legal correspondent, and Alan also is our political sex correspondent. So if you're asking for a friend on that, you got us covered, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say to our listeners, please send us in your legal queries. We will present them to Calvert here and
Dave
not give you a concrete answer. Yeah, we have two lawyers on retainer. So yeah, send us those legal questions. We will tackle them in a very inappropriate manner.
Right. And I didn't steal anything. Okay,
Nobody
just so you know.
on the show stole anything or rubbed themselves in front of their neighbors or anything of the sort.
These are all potential crimes.
I didn't shoot off fireworks in the summer of 2002.